Good evening all, and indeed, Dev Shed. Here we are, in the Dev Shed, and hopefully you can hear me. OBS seems to think you can hear me, so I'm sure you can hear me. No, I haven't had much of a clear up yet. I've had boxes delivered, but that's about it. So technically there's more mess. Yep, to quote Aussie Man, here's my bloody face. You're going to have to excuse me kind of glancing off to the right here because I haven't got my other monitor plugged in, so my chat's like all the way over there, like miles away. Yes, behold the pile of clutter. There will be a Kallax unit here tomorrow, hopefully. Yeah, so the obligatory Snacker Jacks, health snacks, and Burke from Trapdoor, if anyone remembers Trapdoor. Ooh, Globits! Of course, my collection of DeLoreans. And various other bits of miscellaneous junk, which will be going on the shelves tomorrow, assuming they arrive on time. Yeah, exactly. It's in a streamer background, so it's that's you know, the stereotypical Kallax unit with maybe some LED strips just for the extra fanciness and lots of knickknacks. I'll try and give you a quick tour. This wire is like super tight, so all I can do really is like spin it round, but I've got a fake fireplace over there. That's not a real fire, it's just like an LED thing. Curtains, floor, the kitchen area, which is like in the middle of being constructed. The pile of stuff. And lots and lots of wiring down the back there. Other door, lights, electric box. Yeah, so there we go. That is all of it. That's the entirety of the Dev Shed. Am I back in the middle? I did this yesterday and then I couldn't get it lined up again properly. Is it me? No. Almost. That'll do. Yeah, so there's only the one desk here, and this is really half a desk. It's still not like better. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's 6 meters long, and it's 3 meters long at one end. So, sorry, 3 meters wide at one end, and then 2.5 this side. So it's a funny wedge shape. Yes, this is Starlink. Hang on. Let's find out. Oh, ha. Just realised you can't see. Hang on, let's go to mini-me. Yoop. This fluctuates wildly. I had a 400 megabit yesterday, and then like 120 a week ago. And down go the numbers. So yeah, it fluctuates a lot. So Generally speaking, I get around about 200 down, around about 20 up. But yeah, as you can see, it just depends on the wind, the weather, clouds, all sorts of stuff. Let's try that again. Yeah, it's going even slower now. But yeah, very much an environmental thing. Stream seems solid enough though, that's the main thing. So what have I been up to anyway? Let's have a quick peek in engine. So mostly I've just been tidying up and fixing all the various bits and pieces in here. Again, because of separating the decks, you've got these gaps everywhere, which I'm slowly filling. So that staircase now lines up, that one lines up, and that one lines up. This was quite the fun, fiddly set of shapes to work with, but we've got that one nice and sorted now. I just need to draw out the spline railings to go around them. So like these ones here, these are a spline, and I'll just do the same on these ones as well. In fact, I can probably cheese that right now because they're the same, technically the same mesh. It should be the same railing. Where are we? So we go E deck. One is there, so just copy that up, grab that number. I can do that plus 350, that should put it exactly in the right spot. And I'm going to have to, on this particular one, just curl that one round. Yeah, so they shouldn't be too awkward to do. I won't copy that one up again until I've done the corner bit, and I can just copy that one up, and that will, again, just be a simple copy-paste job. Nice and simple. What about that one? Because that's a spline as well. Yeah, we can do the same there. Pop that up there. Add 350 to the number. And the same for D-deck. It's going to be a little bit of tweaking needed, but all in all, that's not bad. Not yet, Delta. So that's the neck of the either the dorsal fin or the keel fin, whichever you'd like to call it, which is obviously down here. So we need some way of connecting the reactor room to this. As I mentioned in the previous stream, it lines up here pretty much perfectly. So I'll likely have a staircase being cut through down there, and then we'll get rid of, actually that can go now, get rid of that, and we'll get rid of that, and then we can have a cargo lift here that goes all the way down the rest of the way. And again, if we go down vertically from here, that actually lines up perfectly with what could be a lift here. So a bit of a happy accident. So that's good. That aside, I was just improving the floor paneling around here. I also did all the weld lines and things for these bits. Kind of smoothed off some of these edges. Yeah, I thought I'd improve the flooring around here while we're at it. And if we have a look at the old floor here, as you can see, it's quite square, quite plain, and that's the new version. So there's a lot more detail, and we've got the bolt holes and everything catered for. And the point of these floors is so that we can start swapping out different aspects of them. So by using this consistent template, it means that this edge strip here, be it wood or carpet or any other material, we can swap those out and it will all still line up properly. So that means we can, in the future, make the customization a lot more varied. So if you wanted to have, you know, wooden outside and carpeted middle, or, you know, rubber outside and wooden middle, or anything like that, you can then do that. And they can have a unique mesh. So rather than all just being the same mesh with a different texture, they're physically different meshes, which makes them highly moddable, which is good for future use. And I went ahead and did this one as well. This one actually needs slightly adjusting because, as you can see here, it's actually too wide. And I forgot when I did that I'd also I'd measured this one so that all of the wall panels terminate the same distance away. So again, it makes everything interchangeable more easily. So I shall fix that either on stream or off of stream if we end up doing something else. Yeah, I can see Claire rolling her eyes there while we're at it. Yeah. Thing is, if you need to make a new sized panel, you might as well make it a nicer one while you're at it. I mean, why not? Yeah, in naval terms, it would be a keel fin, so I'm happy to call it a keel fin. Okay, so where are we at? Where do we need to be? So those stairs are all done now, so that's that job out of the way. I suppose we need to cut some window and door holes through there, and then we need to work our way out and sort out these ones as well, because right now the battery rooms have solid walls, which is no good. Yeah, so we'll go and fix all of that, and then these floor panels can be redone properly. In fact, why don't we start by getting rid of those ones and converting this one to what we want it to be. Hello, Sutterad and Christopher. It is going well, thank you. I hope you guys are also doing well. Okay, keel fin it is then. Yeah, so in the old template we had the edge of the floor panel aligned with the edge of the weld line. But we actually want that to be half a centimetre away from this, so that when we put down the wall panel and it has its backing on it, that needs to line up exactly with the edge of the flooring, which it does. So that's half a centimetre there. That one should have automatically updated. This may seem like overkill, but it's kind of necessary to make sure that everything always maintains consistent scaling. Because again, once we start adding customized versions of all these different pieces, they need to sort of, line up pixel perfect. Okay, let's make a straight version. Yeah, for sure, Reaverblade. And the way we're going to handle that within the game is when you go out and collect a floor panel, it'll just be like a kit, like a floor panel kit in a box. So when you open that box and use it, it will become whichever floor panel piece you're aiming it at. So say this is a broken and trashed piece, you would remove that piece, so it would just be bare framework. And then you'd use the box on the space where a panel should be, and it will just pop out a new one. Like magic. Should be the dimensions of everything we need. So take a copy of the whole lot and then clear out this one. Yeah, I'll have to put a link to the music in the description, and then you can see who it is. Although I can just link it in chat. That's right, Ian, yeah. Yeah, anything that's broken and that you remove, you'll basically have a trashed version of it, and you'll be able to recycle that for an X number of materials. So the idea of these floor panels, and this will be the same across the whole ship, regardless of their style, is they all have this 1/2 centimeter rubber underlay, and that's going to contain the actual structural framework for the floor, so it's not all floppy on the inside. And then whatever surface type is used by the floor tile is what goes on top. So in this instance, we'll do rubber ones, but this could just as easily be a carpet piece, and it all fits the exact same shape. So we can swap them out arbitrarily. the middle bit done. Let's remove some unnecessary faces. It doesn't take long to pop one together, it's just arduous if you have a lot to do. Thank you, Kaji. We can swap out the whole mesh octagon. So right now we're just using texture swapping to do, like, you know, the wood, the carpet, the acrylic, but it's the same underlying geometry. So doing it this way, we can swap out the actual geometry itself. So it can go far beyond just a different texture, which is nice. Duplicate this one because it's the same shape. Find that midpoint. Let's be about 8 along there, 4 there, 8 there, 8 there. I only know these measurements off the top of my head because I had to find them out through trial and error. There's the framework bit. Yeah, so again, by using consistent rule sets for all these different pieces, it means that it doesn't matter which panel I'm doing. I know, how big the curves are going to be. I know the general dimensions and layouts of everything. And as long as I keep that consistent between every panel, it's reasonably quick to knock the different panels out. Okay, that should be that bit done. Now the middle bit. I forget to leave a gap? I did, didn't I? Slight adjustment. Fortunately, this one's full of lots of nice straight edges, so easy enough to tweak. So what I should have done is inset these faces by 0.5 centimetre before I extruded everything. But easily fixed. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, I'm just like in the zone. So I reckon the one that's there now is probably a meter. Hang on. No, that's an endoscope. That's not an HDMI lead. Oh, you're an HDMI lead? No, you're not an HDMI lead. Aha! Yeah, so the ones that came with the monitor is like, it's nothing really. It's a tiny, tiny little HDMI lead. I mean, what good is that to anyone? So I reckon 3 meters probably, but I can just order one from Amazon, so that's fine. But yeah, then the chat can just be like here, just immediately on my left, which means I don't need to go every time I look at chat. Yeah, I do agree. The more monitors you have, the faster you get stuff done. It's just the law. Fixed. I will delete that and redo this one. In fact, if we make them a component, then it will do it all on its own as if by magic. Be careful to select the right bits there. Okay. Yeah, this one's going to be slightly more awkward. To come back and fix that screw hole alignment. we go. So now we've got the blinded. Now we've got the gap around the actual panel piece, which is what we wanted. It looks like a huge gap, but it's literally just 1 centimeter, just like the width of a finger. Let's get our bolts in. So what I might do, depending on how the wall panel actually fits these, maybe have it flatter for longer at the edge there, but to be honest, if we wanted to work with any type of wall panel, including the flat ones on B deck, I guess it does need to line up like that. But I'll have a look. This is to recess them, so basically they are like exactly flat at floor level, so we don't want the bolts sticking out of the floor. Oh, YouTube says the stream is struggling. Am I cutting out at all? Yeah, I wanted something basically which was not going to stick up out of the floor, but at the same time was easy to access and easy to maintain. Okay, let me rewind the music a bit, because that usually helps. You'll have to show me an example of what you mean, Zelaf. Yeah, let me Google it a minute. Countersunk head bolt. Oh, I see what you mean. So do you mean these, basically? Yeah, for sure, an armorless base, and that's how we want to handle the maintenance side of things. So the idea is more so on the wall panels. So hang on, let's turn on B deck because it's got the most in the way of paneling. So if you want to get to the cabling which is behind this wall panel, then you'll need to undo the 4 bolts and then physically pull that panel away, and then that gives you access to all the cabling and everything that's behind it. But what you could do is you could literally just go around removing every floor panel, every wall panel. You know, anything that's got a bolt on it is going to be removable. Why won't you snap? Yeah, exactly that, Martin. Yeah, once we implement the 3D printers, then someone like Let's Game It Out will be able to just completely trash the ship. In fact, if I press either play, I can show you what I mean. Yeah, I want it to be the case where you essentially have like a, I don't want to say a drill, but like a sci-fi version of a drill, and then you physically undo the 4 bolts and you'll see them like sticking out. And at that point, you can remove it. Hello, random robot. Yeah, so if I press I key, it goes like that. So you could go around and physically just remove everything, and then the whole ship will just look like this, just completely bare panels, obviously, on the ceiling as well. Yeah, I've become quite the fan of these, I guess you'd call them sort of Star Wars style flooring. It's very shiny, very nice. Yeah, the bridge crew side of things will be the next update. So this particular update is going to have the new ship shape, the new deck layout and separation on the interior, 18 million new stars, real world stars, and a completely overhauled sensors. And in the next update, we want to do at least sensors and helm as NPCs, and the ability to basically be the captain and command the ship around to do the exploration activity. That is the plan. Set the axes here a minute. should now be exportable. It's a good question, actually, Dale. So I need to test it. So I've only got the one desk here. I need to set up the other machine so we can do some proper local multiplayer testing, and then we'll see. I mean, technically, everything should already be set up for multiplayer. Let's turn my speakers down a bit. Don't let the audio bleed. And yeah, so our line in the sand for the demo is the 24th of December. So we want a Christmas Eve release. And that's the public demo release. So I've got to get all these bits done and the planetary scanning side of things done between now and the 24th of December. But I think we're at the point now where I think it's fixed enough that we'll go live regardless, so there shouldn't be anything that delays it, unless it's something major. So, like if there's something horrendously wrong with multiplayer, then of course we'll delay. But unless it's something crazy bad, then yeah, we'll be going live on the 24th. I certainly can, CSI. Is that any better? Yeah, exactly that, Anasi. Let's get these positioned. Yeah, you won't get Claire on the camera at all. It's hard enough to get her on the microphone, let alone the camera. I mean, I feel awkward enough on camera as it is. That's weird. Do we have a reversed face there somewhere with a weird texture on it? this one's missing 2 bolts and has a weird texture. Just fix that a sec. Oh, I will definitely be doing a service manual. Absolutely. I did actually start scribbling some bits down. Hang on, let me see if I can find it in a minute. There we are. Okay, this is just the beginnings of some scribblings, but should give you an idea of the sort of thing that I'll be writing. Obviously we'll do this in universe and make it a lot more official sounding. There's the face we didn't want. Better. A few crease lines in there from the triangulation, but generally we can just fix that up with some face weighting. Yeah, I'm definitely interested in getting like a Haynes manual. Even if we can get an official Haynes manual done for it, that'd be really cool. Right, so I need to grab some of these anchor points. So what are you? We want one there. One there. Okay, one there. And one here. Right, that should be those. Okay. And the other thing I did recently actually is I converted the floor panel mesh into a single master blueprint, so that it has all the various different components we need, including deck visibility to manage performance. I think that one should be F deck, for example. That also gives us awareness for things like customization. So if we want to change all the carpets to a certain color only on F deck, then these floor panels know that they are on F deck and to use that color. Okay, so then all I need to do now is just change its mesh to that one. Yes, we need to get the... Oh, I know what I didn't do. I didn't add the socket. That's why it's not actually snapping. Okay, so that one's in the wrong place. It should be in the middle. So we'll fix that. That one is in the right place. Might need to rotate it round though. Let's give it a quick try. Yeah, so that needs rotating, but that's not the end of the world. We can just do that. There we go. Oh, we're on the wrong level there, so I just need to make sure that that's attached to the right level. Control M fixes that. Oh, hang on. If the camera gets lodged inside nanite tessellation, it really doesn't like it. Sometimes you can get away with it, but yeah, it does not like that at all. Oh, I hope my soothing voice works, Sebastian. No, Unreal, I want you over there. Right, let's try that again. Let's get rid of some of this other stuff. Copy you to there. Make Make sure you're on F deck. Change you to that. Make sure you're also on F deck. And this is where all that modularity pays off. Just being able to just nicely copy paste things. Not having to worry about rescaling it or worrying about it fitting, because it all just does. Okay, so the next thing we need is some attachment points along here. I'm assuming there's none on this particular mesh. Nope, nothing to speak of. To work out and sketch up where that actually is. Do we not have an F deck floor? What layer are you on? F deck interior. No, they're not UV mapped, Octagon. I'm using tiled materials. Generally speaking, you can get away with a much higher resolution finish if you're just tiling a material rather than having to bake a texture to cover the whole object. So basically, I just use material slots. So like with the weld lines, that's a different material slot to the metal itself. So we've got just the two material slots on this one, but we don't need to worry about draw calls so much because it's nanite now these days, so it doesn't really increase draw calls. Thanks, Sebastian. Yeah, so with regards to 5.5, I've got it installed and I'm waiting for plugins to update. So those are the plugins that are currently updated. Those are the ones that we need. So we're not using a huge amount of plugins. And to be perfectly honest with you, a couple of these can go. Global Event Handler we use a lot. Steam Core, that handles our multiplayer. Ladybug Tracker I'll be replacing with my own version of it. Once we've got the SQL set up on the website, we can just speak to that directly without needing a plugin. The light detection one I'm going to be using for auto tinting on the windows, so they'll be able to detect polarization directly from how much light's hitting the glass, which will be quite cool. And then we use some of this stuff for the Galaxy side of things, but when that's converted to C++, this will not be needed anymore. So I'm trying to stay as plug-in light as possible, because otherwise you get to situations like this where we physically can't upgrade to 5.5 yet because we're waiting for people to update their plugins. Has that one been updated yet? No. What else are we missing? Yeah, so there's a bunch of plugins missing, so we can't upgrade yet. Yeah, this is an IKEA Starship. Right, so where are we at? So it's 1126068. Okay, that's the first one. Next one is 1302844. I'm gonna need a different piece there actually. One 560,938. And then finally 1737715. I suppose I need one there as well. I tend to align them to the inner edge, so yeah, I'll stick one here as well. 2015254. So the export on this one put the world origin in the wrong place, so we just need to fix that. Ah yeah, there it is. See, like the world origin's over there for some reason. There, that one's also there. sure we've actually got collisions on that one a minute. Okay, so that should snap into place now. Maybe. What's our origin angle looking at? Oh, that way around. Okay, that's no good. Don't want that. Right, so you're facing that way, which means I guess you need to face that way as well. Yeah, that way. Basically, the red direction needs to face the red direction on the anchor in order for it to snap. So we need a custom mesh for there, which will be the same for that one. Make sure these are both FDEC. Okay. So the snap's not going to work on this side because this mesh won't have had those added yet. At least I assume not. Yeah. So they are not snapping, which means we need to take this mesh here and add those same sockets to it. Yeah, exactly. Weird stuff afoot. So you get to witness my amazing tea vessel. This thing keeps tea hot like all day, like to a weirdly physics breaking way. That's still painfully hot to drink. Absolutely. Milky Earl Grey. So one bugbear I have with this, which is kind of a feature request for Epic, if anyone from Epic is listening, is the fact I cannot copy a socket and paste it into another mesh. I'm sure my use case is probably rather abstract, but still, it'd be nice to be able to copy paste them. Now they should snap. He says with false confidence. Why aren't they snapping? Are they backwards? Oh yeah. Okay, right, I can see a crease there, so let's see if we can sort that out in a minute. Same on both of those. I'll have to sort that out in the actual geometry. So where it's done the triangulation, it's kind of resulted in a crease, which normally you can get rid of with the normals. Just go for surface aligned normals. But let's see if we can improve it from here. No, basically. A similar issue just here. So there's a line going across there, which is basically, again, it's the triangulation has put the edges too close together. So you get this kind of pinching effect on the normal. One is also going to have to be a geometry fix. Hey Jim, it's very comfortable, thank you. I'm loving it. It's nice to have this completely quiet, tranquil space. Like there's no gurgling, rushing fish tank next to me. There's no just general household noises around. It's nice to just be in a proper office environment rather than like stuck in the corner of my bedroom, which was not in the least bit professional. Obviously I've only just moved in, so there's still piles of junk everywhere and things haven't been built yet, and I've got like kitchen units that need putting together, and the shelves don't arrive till tomorrow. The fire needs putting on the wall. But yeah, it's still needs a bit of work, but it's definitely a lot better. It's a much nicer work environment, and I can get more done. Yeah. Oh hey AJ, yeah, I've received the 3D mouse, thank you. I haven't had a chance to plug it in yet. What with everything that's been going on, I just haven't had a spare 5 minutes yet. Yeah, I have a hue button. So, hang on, if I go big, I got like a little hue button here. So when I press it, it changes the lights. So that's like basically full bright. That's my usual lighting. It's kind of the mood lighting, but it also goes to like only one side of the room, or like just one light above my head, so I can be all spooky. Ooh. Yeah, basically you just press it and it cycles through the different lighting modes, which is kind of cool. Or like off. That's a bit too dark. But I like it on this one. I think they call it like relax or something, but it's nice just to have just the dim lighting. I'm much more comfortable in like candlelight levels of lighting. Yeah. That's my Holly mode. I just need like just my face with a black background. A thought has occurred with this actually. I don't think... No. It's not automatically enabling nanites. I'm sure there was like a save button with that, but oh well. Need to make sure I have that defaulted to on. Make sure it's actually doing the mesh properly. Check these as well, just to make sure. Yeah, so you do. Yep. Okay, I think we're fine. Sort this bulkhead out. Yeah, I did consider something like that, Kaji. So because, yeah, of course, go with hue lights, you can set it up so based on the time of day, it will change the color of the lights. But I just leave it like this all day. As soon as the lights are on, I've always got them on dim. They are RGB bulbs, so they can be any color, but I've got my phone in the house right now, so I can't change the color. So I could make them go purple to match my thermos thing. Okay. Make sure this one is actually the right width. That's fine. I'm working on F and G deck simultaneously because all the floor panels that that fit F deck would also fit G deck, so that's just a simple copy paste down job. So there's our two pieces. And there's our base plate. Right, so this time I will actually remember to bring that in slightly first. Just so we've got that gap around everything. Okay. Do the easy one first. Bottom too high then. 2. Again, consistency creates speed, so all the corners always have the same radius of curve, be it on the inner or outer, which means that they're easy and quick to knock out because I know exactly what I'm doing without having to measure it. So you see here we've got this like this crease line going through here, and the reason for that is even though you can't see it because SketchUp works with n-gons, it is, on the GPU side it's triangulated, so you've got these creases from where it's doing the triangulation. If I was to do something like that, you can see it's completely changed where that crease looks like it's going. Certainly lessened it. So what I can do is I can either do that on the corners, or I could square them off, which could do it as well. But basically it's a case of reducing the amount of triangulation that's happening on the main face. There should be barely any there, but yes, I shall come back and have a play with that. What I'll probably do is connect that edge across here and try and make the flat area just a single, like 2 poly square, and that will get rid of this garish line that goes across there. Although hopefully face weighting will sort that out anyway. Such are the joys of 3D modeling. Interesting. Why is that there? I see, so 7.5 centimeters to edge of the bracket, so okay, so where these ones attach to this little support bit underneath where the brackets are, over this side they're actually connecting to like the middle bit of the geometry where the door frame goes, so the distance there is the same as the other brackets, but obviously it's further from the edge of the floor panel, so it means these two are going to have a slightly different shaped wedge to these ones. So that should be 8. Yeah, so that's considerably further away. And I wanted that to be 4, didn't I? May as well copy that, save myself a job. So we've got to maintain some consistency here, so that's basically 4 centimeters from here. That's where the edge of it needs to be. Yeah, I do want to copy it over. And then I suppose we could do the same there. Then that needs to be 45 degrees there, which makes it quite a bit bigger than that one. Although you don't look like you're 45 degrees. Okay, let's call it 25 instead. Hey Tim, thanks for joining the stream. Good to see you. Sorry, I just realised I'm missing loads of chat here. Thanks, Christopher. Appreciate it. Crazy Frank, yes. Everything's physicalized, so all the pipes, cables, floor panels, wall panels, they'll all be damageable, removable, and physically interactable in every way that they can be. The only thing they won't be is physics objects, so you won't be able to pick them up and chuck them around, but you'll be able to do everything else. I do have quite the furry back mark, yeah. Hey Flying Magoo, glad you liked the demo. Yeah, the reason I'm using SketchUp is, number one, it's because what I'm used to using basically, and number two, because most of what I'm doing is kind of ArchViz work, and yeah, SketchUp is designed for that sort of thing. It's there's going to be a lot of stuff that Blender's better at, of course. I know that Blender's got much nicer tools for working with subdivision and that sort of thing. I can do subdivision modeling and quad modeling with SketchUp. Obviously that requires plugins, so it's not the sort of thing it does out of the box. And it also can't do things like face weighting, and it's not particularly good at UV mapping either, but I just use Unreal for that sort of thing. That will do us, I reckon. Ultimately, for me to be able to do what I do in SketchUp as quickly in Blender, I'd need to spend weeks to months really getting intimately familiar with Blender, and I just don't have the time to take time away from dev work to learn another tool. I definitely have nothing against Blender. I do have it installed. I just, again, I just don't have the time to learn it. Actually, what I would find really quite valuable is the opinion of someone who does use Blender, sees the sort of things I do, and has some clear idea as to how Blender could do that quicker and or better than SketchUp. Like specifically with exactly what I'm doing, because obviously I want to be able to improve and speed up the workflow that I'm doing. Oops, I've got to round these edges off. Yeah, I think Blender's UI improved greatly in recent versions, but it does seem to still be very keyboard shortcut heavy. So unless you've memorized all those keyboard shortcuts, which obviously takes time and muscle memory, it's quite clunky to use to begin with. Yeah, I definitely agree with you there, Octagon. It's SketchUp is a bit like Microsoft Front Page for modeling, in that I remember, I mean, granted I haven't used Front Page in like a bazillion years, but I always used to code websites literally in Notepad because I like to have full control over just how much code was being written and what it was doing. And you went onto something like Front Page or any other sort of WYSIWYG editor, and it would just spit out like twice the amount of HTML that you ever needed to get the job done. I kind of view SketchUp, perhaps unfairly, in a similar vein, in that sometimes it does chuck some really random geometry into things. As long as you stay on top of it and don't let it run away with itself, then you can produce good results. Of course, what makes for good modelling is very much debated. Like the proper way to quad model around a circle and that sort of thing. People's opinions differ on what is or is not good geometry. Like this. This will be considered bad geometry because the auto triangulation that's happening is creating these creases. With really, really good geometry, you wouldn't get these creases. But it's because we've got like an n-gon here, because you've got all these edges. It's not quad geometry here. It is here, but not here. So this giant n-gon obviously plays havoc with the rendering, which SketchUp doesn't care about because it uses n-gons. But engines like Unreal use polygons, so it doesn't work as well. Yes, Sebastian, definitely the SketchUp file in its entirety will be made available when it's done. So if you want to go ahead and 3D print that, then feel free. I reckon. So again, in the future, these bolts will actually be interactable. So they won't just be a smooth cylinder like this. They'll actually properly have a thread, and they will spin out when you use a tool on them to facilitate the removal of the panel. So I did notice last time nanite wasn't being generated, so build nanite, yes, there we go. Yes, of course. So that's not going to snap because obviously the socket's facing the other way, just to be inconvenient. Oh, actually, no, it shouldn't have snapped at all. Oh yeah, of course. That one snapped because I was using that mesh, but of course I haven't added a socket to this mesh yet, so there's no way it can snap. Yeah, so that's going to snap that way, and then we should be able to just mirror the mesh that way. Okay, so snap it into position, then mirror it. Okay, yeah, that works. Just to be awkward. To be fair, I could just put a second socket facing the other way, but that'll do. Or, no, I will do that actually, because I'd rather not have negative scaling on meshes if I can get away with it. So we'll rotate that socket the other way, and that should then snap. Yeah, there we go. That's a cleaner solution. Yeah, not bad. I think it should start to pop quite nicely once the wall panels are back in. Hey Dark Knight, we're finishing off the general modelling work around F and G decks ahead of the demo update. Yes, there is a face. I do have a face. It exists. Guten Tag. Right, so I need to add sockets around here really, so then we can get this one put into position properly. So I was hoping I could just copy the sockets from the other ring up on D deck, but it has a different width of panel. Hang on, let's get rid of some of these a minute. Save all that before anything bad happens. Right, I might be able to just extrapolate these, to be honest. Where is the middle? That one. Or is it that one? That one. Okay, so if you're 300, then you'll be minus 300. And you'll be minus that. Work. So minus that and minus that. Now, obviously these are going to need custom meshes because, like with B-Deck, we need pieces which extend outward a bit further that way. But for now, just to test it out, I use this one because this does have the same overall direction. Is that not snapping? Why you no snap? Sworn I had a socket before. This is why we go to the bother of adding sockets, because it makes all of that so much easier. Right, so those middle three will have custom versions that extend outward into here. Fortunately, all these segments are the same size. And, well, it's not fortunately, they are the same size because I needed them to be. Yeah, so those ones don't line up because the rotation's wrong. So the rotation on this one, -14 for, okay. I'll just remeasure that, it'll be easier. So if we remove some of these layers a minute, let's make sure that one is on the right one. Do I want to add you to that layer? No, I don't. I'll leave that as it is. Good night, Sebastian. Have a good one. Yeah, there'll be basically yes to both of those questions there, Kaji. So let's say that this panel here is slightly damaged. You'll be able to come along and do a spot repair. When you do a spot repair, it'll take the quality down but the health up. So we're going to have this thing where quality is at the top, health is at the top. Every time health goes down and down and down, every time you repair something, the quality goes down, which means health then goes down quicker. Repair it, quality goes down, 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 down. Repair it, quality goes down. So you'll get to the point where the quality gets so low that whatever it is you keep fixing will just like instantly break every single time. So the idea is at that point, it's better to just tear that piece apart and go and 3D print a new one and replace it with a brand new piece. So we don't want to have it so that you're always having to replace the pieces. You can do spot repairs, but obviously the risk reward of a spot repair is that you're reducing the quality of the item, be it a pipe, a cable, a wall panel, a bit of carpet, anything. No doubt. So she just goes to bed and leaves me here. this would be easier actually using this. So let's get rid of that ruler. Don't need that in our way. Right, so that's our level. That's useful if I added markers already. Well done, past me. Right, so from there to there is 14,559. Okay, and then we wanted the opposite of that. So we wanted, I guess, the green one, which would be 75,441. So 75,441. Yeah, so that. So basically yes, but it's 90 degrees off. Means that one would be the inverse of that. Yeah, there we go. So now they should line up. There we go. So basically that's the tedious annoyance of placing sockets, especially on a curve like this, because you need to get the angle of the curve correct. So we'll do this one next. That one there, and that one there. Is this one here. So if we were using the red axis, that would be 158.83. And that would be the inverse of that. Should be those two done now. So what we're looking for basically is absolutely no gap down there at all. So that's literally pixel perfect joint between those two meshes. And the same here. Yeah, pixel perfect, absolutely no joint there at all. And these ones I don't have anything I can copy, so I'll have to set them up from scratch. Uh, 1048349. just opened my email for one random reason. Right, and then the angle on this one is going to be 6882. Okay, the inverse of that, so 24882. Alright, so then that means that one should be, actually it's a cleaner way of doing that. Duplicate that one, change that one, yep, and then invert that one. So that one was 6882. Okay. Next. $301,648. $1,161,470. Okay, and the rotation is 75,441. Finally, these ones. Hey James, yeah, so eventually we want to do modular shipbuilding, so it would be nice where players could like build them from scratch like I am, but with the infrastructure, the pipes, the cabling and everything having to sort of connect together, modular is probably the way we'll approach it. So we'll have a set chassis per ship class, and that chassis will contain the power plant, the basics of the hardware, like the engine mounts and that sort of thing. And then you'll be able to customize the engines, the power plants, and the layout of the rooms within that set chassis. So there'll be modular room components that you can swap out and swap around. Yeah, they are set off. Some of the panels are bigger than the doors, which I'm just kind of ignoring. Because if I think about it, I'll end up rebuilding things. Don't know off the top of my head, Octagon. So I could probably script something CSI. In fact, I did have a tool that I wrote yonks ago where I could build corridors just by giving it a radius and a number of segments, and it will actually draw the corridor of the right radius, the right number of segments, and it would even them out nicely, which is great. But other than drawing circular corridors, it wasn't particularly customizable. So this is better in the grand scheme of things. Yes, Nick, kind of like a kit bash approach. So you'll have like a space where a room will go, and you'll define what type of room would go there, either like one big room that fills up the entire space, or maybe multiple smaller rooms that take up that that rectangle of available space within the ship's chassis. But we'll delve much more deeply into that system once we get there, and we're talking a couple of years away yet, at least, for that sort of thing. Yeah, I don't see why not, Delta. So to begin with, the Admiral's yacht's going to be the same as the Magellan in terms of how it's built and how interactive it is. But once we get to the point where things start to be customizable, then there will be an Admiral's yacht chassis, which is like a bare bones chassis, and then you obviously build your ship on top of that. At least that is the current plan. Thanks, autosave. That should be all of the sockets placed. Huzzah! Not seeing any weird gaps. that'll do, I reckon. Okay, so before I do the stairs section there, I need to fix the template and sort out the support brackets that go into that bit. Yeah, I've got time, so let's have a go at doing these ones around here as well. See if we can get this outer corridor run done. So that one next. Hey 3D Addict, good to have you on the stream. James, so the level of detail is something I've always wanted to do anyway, and I started off building the structural framework for the Enterprise refit back in the day as a hobby, and someone pointed out to me, I think it's on the Trek BBS forums, about how modern ships are built and how the mega blocks come together and they're built, you know, separately, then they're brought in situ in the shipyard, and then they're all welded together. And that block level approach for constructing vessels is basically how all modern mega ships are built. So, you know, I wanted to build the ship as realistically as possible. So with modern manufacturing techniques and, you know, automated welding rigs and that sort of thing, that's how these things would be constructed. So, you know, in the immediate future, building something like this in space, we would take a similar approach where we would create these blocks, and then those blocks would be joined together, and you just keep joining blocks into other blocks until you've got a ship. And yeah, so I just wanted to do it the same way. And it also gives us a lot of flexibility in terms of customization. So I originally had it so that these bracing struts here were curved and like went all the way around and conformed to the wall panel that was there at the time. And I abandoned that idea and just went with the straight bracing. One, because, you know, that's kind of how they do it in the real world, but two, because it gives us essentially this entire area to have any type of wall panel we want. So as long as the screw holes are in the same place, this panel that goes here could have literally any design we could possibly think of. And the same with the floors. As long as the screw holes are in the same place, you know, this floor could be any design we could possibly want it to be. And the whole ship has been approached with that kind of in mind. So if you wanted to do something maybe Star Trek-esque, where they've got like visible like mid-corridor ribbing, where it's very much visibly segmented along the corridors, you know, you could do that here. So you could have, you know, those like those K braces that they have, you know, on the older Trek ships. You could have those K braces, you know, between the corridor panels, and it would still work as a design. Yeah, exactly, Kaji. I obsessed over Titanic Honor and Glory for a few days, just, you know, exploring it and, you know, looking at the amount of detail they've added, and that's completely, you know, where I want to go with this. You know, that level of just insane amounts of detail. Nick, the problem with the Roomba was I'd changed the project default collision to complex as simple, and of course that broke anything with non-complex collisions. So any movable prop, you know, including things like the Roomba, would no longer move because you can't have physics with complex collisions. So it's a simple tick box that I needed to untick. Yes, 3D Addict, this one here. Yeah, for sure. So this wasn't the final finished product. Where we've got the insulation here, there will be like a metal plank or something behind it where the insulation goes around. So there'll be something physically metal sticking out of there, and this will be attached to that, and it has to go back recessed enough that it's behind the panel. So the jury's still out on how we're going to make these accessible. So obviously all the cabling and everything is going to be going through here, so there will be holes and things cut through here to route all the cabling. So the cabling is going to go through like this, through the walls, which is why that cavity exists in the first place. But the box itself, because these are essentially breaker boxes, we don't want people just random crew members just coming up and touching them, because you're shutting off like an entire ring. So ideally they need to be behind the wall panel, but as soon as you put them behind the wall panel, no one knows that it's there anymore. So we're going to have some, maybe like a panel where you can open on the wall panel, or like something like this where you can see that something's there, so you can maybe see if this was like a transparent panel with a lock, so you can see the readout but you can't touch it unless you unlock it, something like that. Well, we'll find some solution to it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So originally we were going to have just access panels within the wall panel that you just kind of flap open, but there's so much detail that's being added, behind everything, that it's actually nicer to just have the player remove the entire wall panel, revealing all the stuff that's going on behind. So you get a much better idea of what's going on behind the scenes on the ship. So you get to see the cabling, you get to see all the pipes and the conduits and everything that makes the ship tick. But yeah, but these these boxes in particular do need an easy way of being accessed by the engineering crew, but not the general crew. Yeah, I think you're right there, AJ. I think an access code is probably the way we'll go about it, because what we don't want is a plain corridor with nothing of any visual interest going on. Having a wall screen there that's lit up and showing information is just a nice thing to have. So making that lockable with like an engineering code is probably the easiest way of doing that, and we'll lock all the screens. So every single engineering screen will have an engineering key code, including the reactor controls, and that's something that the multiplayer host can set. It also stops random people coming onto your game and pressing stuff, because they literally won't be able to. Yeah, I haven't really thought about, having heat in cables and then having those insulated, and where does that heat dissipate to? I think that's an amazing amount of detail to do, and I don't say this very often, that's kind of beyond the scope of what I want to achieve. I know that's kind of mad, because there is no scope of what I want to achieve, it's just everything. But yeah, I think we'll draw the line at managing temperatures through cable insulations. Yeah, Delta. There's actually something that was added to Unreal recently. I think it was a Microsoft thing, if I recall. But there was a way of doing very realistic sound reverberation depending on the environment. So yes, in that sense, the material could very much affect the echoiness of the environment. The material on the collision mesh already affects the footstep sounds. So obviously wood sounds like wood, carpet sounds like carpet. Yeah, another thing to consider is that the ship's computer knows who you are. If we think about the fact that, you know, modern AI right now can identify individuals very easily. I mean, even years ago, there were tools where you could feed it family photos and it would tell you which family members are in those photos. I mean, that technology already exists. So, you know, 200 years of AI advancement from now, the ship's computer is going to know people by sight. You know, it'll know exactly who you are and who you should, you know, what or you should not or should be touching. Words. Yeah, I think the main thing with modern spacecraft is dissipating heat, because vacuum is like the perfect insulator. So, you know, as something gets hotter in space, it's very hard to cool it down. So yes, a very, very highly insulated ship with lots of hot cables is just going to get hotter and hotter without some way of dissipating that heat. So perhaps in the real world, what we're doing here is kind of maybe not the ideal approach with so much insulation. But the insulation here is not just insulation, it's also like a gel stuff where if it's exposed to vacuum, it rapidly expands and hardens. So the idea is all this insulation material is up against the outer hull. So if like if a micrometeorite or something of that ilk penetrates the hull, as long as it's a small hole, then it's also going to penetrate these little insulation bubbles, which are going to then expand and fill the hole and kind of self-seal the hole before, you know, too much atmosphere escapes. That's the idea behind them anyway. Like bubble wrap, basically. Bubble wrap filled with this gel substance that expands in vacuum. If that makes sense. Yes, we're going to be doing all sorts of translations. So once the website's done, we'll have probably our string tables available on the website for the community to do translations. And that would be like literally every language. So, you know, we could have basically a string table per language, and then the community can work together to translate those strings. Yeah, there we go. I mean, we've got quite the large German community, so I imagine German will be the one we do first. Right, yes, this panel. Right, so these ones need the template updating because that's wrong. one tiny little gap. Yeah, so the reason for this gap here and the reason why that gap is too small is because once you include the actual bracket, which is 5 centimeters, which comes out that far, then obviously if the floor panel's going out this far, then it's overlapping the bracket, which we don't want. So this just ensures that we don't have geometry intruding upon geometry, because that's never a good thing. Should be good enough. Hey, Starship Rogue. Yeah, the empty armory room next to the bridge is actually going to be the A-deck bathroom. There will be an armory locker on the bridge. So as you go in the door on the left-hand side, there'll be an internal security station there. And there'll be a full armory locker that only the security officer can open, or the captain, or the XO for that matter. Yes, Albert, you will definitely be able to do that. Yeah, that's not a bad shout, to be honest, CSI, because you've got version logging then. I was going to use just an SQL database on the website, but yeah, GitLab's probably better. Yes, Sockbox, we now have Facecam. Now that I'm in the dev shed, I've got more room to work with, which means I can have a camera and I can have a streamer shelf behind me and what other fancy things we want for the stream. Yeah, catchy, definitely. Same here, especially Deluxe Paint on the Amiga back in the day. I had similar problems. Can't believe I can remember the name Deluxe Paint. That's crazy. It's probably been 25, 30 years since I last used that. Yes, and no more fish tank sounds. which is both a blessing and a curse. Right, okay, there's our clean template. So as before, we'll take a copy of that bit. And I've just noticed actually I've got no bolt holes, so I need to add those. And we'll give that one a uniform colour, which means that will delete any lines we don't want. Extrude that up, and that becomes our base plate. Don't need to chamfer for any edges on that one. Okay, and then this becomes our actual floor. So again, we create a little gap around the outside, and we create our internal edge. Get rid of that for now. Thicken that surface. And we can round off our corners. And then the inside corners. That's all of them. Oh no, missed one. Make sure there's no weirdness going on. Give it an appropriate colour. Which for that we need the other level back on, so that we can steal the appropriate colour. Baffle the edge, and there's our outsidey bit. And there's the insidey bit, if autosave lets me. Yeah, I did toy with the idea of having the background as set something on the ship, which I might still do. That could be quite cool. I worry that it would be a bit cheesy. Right, there's the middle bit done. Won't bother with that side, I'll copy that one when this one's done. No point doing work when you don't need to. Right, so now we need to copy these guys. I actually will start using an angle there rather than just doing an arbitrary measurement. Because if I always use 25 degrees, then I know for future reference that anything that happens to need a wedge like that, I can stick to the same angle and have them more consistent. Okay, so we do actually need one there as well. Easiest way to get that measurement yeah. If I take that, and then I paste that there. Hopefully this will put it in exactly the right place. Looks about right. And the same here as well. This is a prime example of me doing what works rather than what you're perhaps supposed to do. Sorted. Thanks, Kaji. I always get chamfers and bevels mixed up. Yeah, I think the bridge could be good, or I like the idea of an orbital shipyard, just having a window behind me with... I'll tell you what would be really cool, is if we had a window behind me with stuff happening, like things flying past and a ship actively being built. Because, you know, if you're going to do something, go over the top. And thank you to Prinkles09. See, I don't know where the Ko-fi bot came from. It just randomly appeared on YouTube. And I don't know whether or not the person who's just backed us on Ko-fi, or sorry, Ko-fi, I don't know how to pronounce it either. I don't know whether they're in the YouTube chat, so if you are in the YouTube chat, thank you. If you're not, thank you anyway. And you'll probably never know that I just said thank you. But it's there. But yeah, I think 3D window, things happening outside, gotta be a winner. Might be 115, wouldn't it? No, it wouldn't. Wait, yes it would. Yeah. Also good with Ava in the background doing stuff. You know, what I'm doing now would be a good use for some kind of automated AI process or agent, because although the geometry is different, so it's a different scale, it's a different curve, it's a different general bit of geometry, but the methodology behind what I'm doing is consistent. And given that it's a consistent methodology every single time, you know, same amount of edge curve in the same places, surely an AI agent could be trained to do this. So I could just go, right, here's your perimeter. Make it one of these. That would be most useful. I seem to spend a lot of my modeling time basically doing the same thing over and over again, only a slightly different shape. Okay, done and done. And now this one. Cheat this one as well actually. If I just do half of it and then mirror it, then that's again half the work needed. Come on, camera. There we go. There we go. Plunk that one down there. Right, we need to go and steal some bolts from over here. You'll do. I'm trying to give a little bit of random rotation to these so that they're not all facing the same way, because otherwise it looks a bit unnatural. Okay, there we go. Another finished article. So to begin with, you'll just click the panel and it'll come off. But in the future, we definitely want it to be that you have to go and undo the bolts with some kind of tool, which is why I don't want them to be too many. So like on this floor panel here, you've got 6 bolts because it attaches in more places, but for the most part there will only ever be 4 bolts holding it on, so it's not too much hassle when you're having to go with a tool and undoing them all. Now what size thread are the bolts? They are I thought they were 1 centimetre, but could be wrong. 1.2, so they're 12 mil, 1.2 centimetres. Not sure what that is in inches. So let's do a copy of that name. But how wide are you? That's the question. Should measure this side really, just keep it consistent. So that's 409. I always try to remember to name the objects with the same name that I'm exporting them as, so that I only need to click on it and then I can see which file it's connected to. Right, then let's give this one a whirl. facing the right way, looks to be in the right place. One too many materials there, so something has a face that shouldn't do. I'm guessing is that one then. I'm not seeing any odd materials in use here. Nothing hidden. That would be that one. Right, let's re-import that a sec. Get rid of that. Yeah, that's gone now. Good, good. Should be a snap point there. F-deck ring to T. That one. Is the socket facing the wrong way? Probably. Yeah, that was the problem. Terror. Come on, mouse, calm down. There we go. Yep, they all line up nicely. So it might be nice actually, and I probably will do, put an actual door in here, actual bulkhead door for the demo update. A lot of questions that we get are, you know, how does the ship deal with decompression? You know, if the hull is penetrated, are there bulkheads? And the answer is yes, there are bulkheads everywhere, but people miss them because they don't have doors in them. So I'll sort that out and actually put some doors in them. Because there'll be one there, and one there, and one there, another one there, another one here, here, and there. So there are bulkheads all over the place. It's just they're not obvious right now. Sorry, just catching up on the chat. Yeah, I think it would be funny to have a whole bunch of mismatched spanners and socket sets everywhere, so you can never find the one you want. Conveniently for this ship, all the bolts are the same size. One size fits all. Yes, Firstus, there will be a door on the F deck cryo room. Right now, there are no holes cut through, so yes, there will be a door here, along with some windows. And the same for the control room as well. There'll be a door and some windows. I just need to get round to cutting them out. I'll probably do those ones when I do these stairs, because the whole floor level is like way too low right now. Like the floor is down here and it needs to be up here. In fact, I could do that right now. Yeah, so it should be there. So of course the stairs are also in the wrong place up there. Although this does present us with a challenge, actually. Because obviously with the additional height, we're going to need, as per the other stairs, an extra 2 steps. Now those extra 2 steps can't go here because we're already tight for space here. So we're going to have the steps come in here. So there'll be a step down onto the stairwell. That's the only way we can do that really, without making the whole thing smaller. Yeah, so that's going to have to come out to about there. A problem for future Dan. Got to get a shot of these as well at some point. Replace them. Yeah, regarding the naming convention, rather than this being the generic cryogenic storage room, really it's the reactor consumables room. So I think that is probably the name we'll use, actually, reactor consumables, because obviously this is the fuel and the coolant for the reactor, but there are going to be lots of other cryo storage tanks across the ship. So like there will be cryo storage pods in here. So inside the actual engines themselves, there will be fuel tanks and cryo tanks, terminating in the engine nozzles at either end. So we'll have that. There'll also be cryo tanks out by the RCS as well. So there isn't one generic cryogenic storage room. Yeah, I haven't really thought about cryosleep before. It's yeah, that's an interesting one. I'd have to explore that as a concept. I mean, generally speaking, we want to put things, with real science, back everything up with real scientific papers, basically. Cryogenic sleep is not something that has any sound science around it because of cell degradation. So yeah, it's probably something we'll avoid for the game. Yes, Anasi. So down here in the bowels of the ship, where's the front gone? That's the back. So around about here, obviously that's where the gas intake's going to be. So approximately this level, there will be preliminary storage tanks where all the gases are accumulated before they get fed off to all the other places they're needed. Reactor cryogenics does sound cooler, Mark, I must admit, yep. Yeah, so it makes sense to have some holding tanks where the gas is inputted from. So you'll have the intake manifold, which will lead into the basically the filters, like the gas filters, and at the back of the ship here we'll have some vents where the filtered gases are vented back out, fart holes basically. And then the gases that are being kept will be put in the storage tanks before being piped off to wherever they need to go. Yeah, storage buffers. Makes sense. Well, now that we've got that done, and I'm starting to lose my voice, I think I shall call it a night there. Before I lose my voice completely. So why don't we go back to Big Dan? Hurrah! Well, I hope everyone has liked having face cam, and it didn't put you off too much, and it wasn't too distracting. And everyone goes silent. It's that horrific. Probably magnetic. You're welcome, Festus. Always a pleasure. And there'll be no burnout in the dev shed. This is a finely tuned development. What's the word? Haven. It's a development haven. Yeah, hopefully we'll get there soon enough, Leo. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing that myself as well, especially the astrometry lab. We'll have another big, 3D hollow display and all the star charts on the walls and that kind of thing. That'll look quite cool. Yes, Kaji, I shall be doing a dev build. Well, I'll do one tonight because I don't think there's anything broken that's going to stop a dev build. So I'll go take a shower in a sec and then I'll put a dev build out. So an hour to 2 hours. Just keep an eye on Steam. Yeah, Claire actually has a key to the dev shed on her car keys, so it is entirely possible that she could lock me in. Yeah, you'll get an extra special bed, Delta, I promise. Yes, Eric, this is the dev shed. We are in, finally, after 3 months, I think. 3 months? 2 months? 2 months, I think, it took to build. But we're here, finally. And on that happy note, I shall wish you all a good night and a happy rest of the week. And I shall see you all on Sunday for the next stream. So, yeah, have a good week. Bye for now. See you on the next one. And I'll try and find the stop button because I lost it last time. Where are we? There it is. Right, have a good one all.